Hey everyone, TricksterShadow here, and today we have what is probably the most influential mid-chapter patch that we've had in a long time. Of course, we had the mid-chapter patch probably about like 9 months ago that changed up a lot of stuff, but this one I feel like is more divisive or maybe equally divisive. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in here that is going to make pretty much everybody mad, everybody happy all at once. So I say in a tweet, this update is a very mixed bag. There's some good things, some bad things, some things that are good, but really needed additional changes to support the gameplay shift their absence will cause. And of course, they talk about in the developer update in this tweet, they're kind of like summarizing it. There's some Bloodweb improvements, visual terror radius, map updates, healing rebalance, 7 perk changes, killer updates, flashlight cleanup, and a deep rift change. So let's just go through it real quick. So we have a developer update. It is for March 2023. And let's go through the Bloodweb update first. This stuff I feel like is good. Really, nobody should complain about this. I mean, you can be like a little bit disappointed in like how some things are implemented, but overall, this is a good change. So Bloodweb Chain, they're making it to where the first new addition is very simple. They're making it to where if you click on a node, it'll buy everything to that node. So like if I go, I know my Claudette is pretty high level right now. So if I go to like Claudette, if I wanted to buy, say, this Fate Regent, I would have to first buy currently this Beef Tallow and this Fragrant Sweet in order to get to the Fate Regent. But with this change, with the Bloodweb Chain, I would be able to just click on this Fate Regent and it'd buy everything to that. And it'd go on the cheapest path. So that's a good change. I like that. It makes it faster to spend stuff if you're still trying to like buy specific things. Automatic purchases, so they're making it to where you can click in the middle of your blood web. So currently it's just a little red dot. They're making it to where you can click in the middle of your blood web and it will automatically spin your blood points for you, and it will try to find the cheapest paths on the blood web. So it's really like mainly good for console players, people that play on controller, because currently they have to like slowly move their cursor from one to the other. It doesn't snap to each node. And even then, if it's snapping to each node, it'll still take a while. So that's good for console players. For PC players, if you spend efficiently, it's not that much faster. I think it's like 2 seconds faster. If you know how to like spend really efficiently. But still, it's really good. You could just put on a YouTube video and then just keep on clicking the button. So that's good. It's a good change. And then press to buy. Currently, if you want to buy something on the Bloodweb, you have to click the button and hold it down as it's buying. But now they're making it where you just click it and then it automatically buys it. You don't have to hold down the button. That's also good if you want to keep on like buying stuff on your own. Go through the blood webs a little bit faster. They're adding an accessibility feature, which is the visual terror radius. So basically, they're making it to where if you hear the killer's terror radius, then you have a heart that is shown visually inside of your character. This is an optional feature, so you can turn it off, turn it on, whether you want it or not. And there's also some colorblind features, so if you want to change the color of the heart, you can. This is something that I don't really see, this is something to where even if potentially it provides like a competitive advantage for survivors, I think making the game more accessible to people warrants changing other parts of the game for the game to be more accessible. So let's say, like, hypothetically, I don't think it will that much, but hypothetically, like, if it gave it advantage, I think it'd be worth it to like buff or nerf buff like killers or nerf survivors in order to have this accessibility be in the game. Does that make sense? But I don't think it's going to change that much. Really, I could see this just making it to where like killers that have kind of weird terror radiuses, like the fringe, they're more normalized with the heartbeat. So I see a lot of people using this just because like some killer terror radiuses are a bit weird. But yeah, this is good. Really, I do wonder one thing. I wonder how this is going to interact with lullabies. So like the Trickster's lullaby or Hunter's lullaby, you'll hear those lullabies before you hear the heartbeat. And so I wonder if this will like make them a little bit worse in some way, because I believe their lullabies are bigger than 32 meters. I could be wrong. I haven't looked in a long time because I know Favor always changes stuff. But that's something we'll have to see. I'm really happy about this change. This is a long time needed. Very good. They're reworking some of the Autohaven maps. So this is something that people have been wanting for a long while. They've been visually updating a lot of the maps, but people have been wanting gameplay changes, and so they're changing up Blood Lodge and Gas Heaven. So Blood Lodge could be a bit of a mixed bag, according to them. Depending on how the map generates, there could be plenty of safe pallets near the center, or very few, creating a very safe area or a dead zone. This area also has a few line of sight blockers, which makes it difficult for stealth killers to sneak up on survivors. Not even just stealth killers. If you're just like a normal killer and you're walking across the map, somebody will see you walking towards them and they'll start running early. I'll make it where instead of like you being able to get into a chase with them, like immediately as soon as you get there, they start running and you got to catch up to them for 30 seconds before the chase even starts. That's obviously very bad. And then around the edge of the map, on the other hand, features several maze tiles, high walls with a pallet or a window. So basically, a maze tile is just something with a pallet and a window. Or you could also say like there are filler tiles that only have a pallet, but yeah, it's just the long wall tiles that are tall. Clever survivors can combine these tiles, string them together to create stronger loops, making them very difficult to catch. To remedy this, we are making significant layout changes to this map. The Blood Lodge itself will now appear closer to the center of the map, so the main building is going to be in the center of the map to try to block line of sight. And then the maze tiles have also been separated from one another, making it more difficult to chain them together. All right, we're going to have to play the PCB to see how this actually is. Like hearing how the changes are is one thing, but seeing them actually in the game is another thing. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Gas Heaven features unique car pals that stretch several tiles long. These special tiles can get in the way of gameplay, however, making it very difficult to traverse the map. Chasing a survivor around these walls of cars can also waste a lot of time if they start a chase with a significant lead. So if you're at one end of the car pile, the survivor's at the other end of the car pile, and they start running away from you as you're trying to approach them, it could take you even like a minute, depending on the killer, before you even start a chase with them, depending on like where they are on the car pile. So it sounds like they are breaking up the car piles. So I think they show top of this. Yeah, there's like a little gap. That's good. Going forward, they're going to be in smaller chunks. The car walls, these car piles will also feature potential pallet spawns, helping to reduce the potential for dead zones to appear, which is cool. So there may be a pallet in between the car piles. Good change. The Gas 7 gas station itself has also been moved closer to the center of the map. All right, since this makes the building much more easier to get to from anywhere on the map, we've reviewed its spawning rules to prevent strong combinations of windows from spawning in just the pallet spawn locations. So that's interesting. They're making potentially the building weaker. Again, we're gonna have to see how that plays out. And throughout the realm, some of these changes will spill out over into the other Autohaven maps, including new edge tiles, which is along the map boundaries, so like Z walls, stuff like that. Some of which include new gameplay, such as possible pallet spawns, which makes me think of Eerie of Crows. If you know what Eerie of Crows are, this map, like a desert map with a big temple. There is a new pallet that came a couple patches ago that is behind the temple, and it's very kind of useless pallet, but you can still get like a stun with it. So I wonder if it's going to be something like that. Healing. Now, healing. This is something that has been a hot button issue for a long time with DBD, ever since like DBD came out, really. Healing has seen some changes here and there, but now they are addressing healing even more so. So they talk about how healing can be a very big problem for killer, as there's some situations to where like a survivor may have a green medkit, emergency medkit, and then they can heal in 10 seconds after the killer gets a hit. And this makes it to where the killer just doesn't really get much value out of getting a hit on that survivor. And this is before they even consider perks and add-ons. So for killers, this means that any chase that doesn't end in a hook, but they manage to damage a survivor, can be completely undone in a matter of seconds, which obviously doesn't feel good. So to remedy this, they are making healing take 24 seconds by default. Previously, it was 16. So what that means is if somebody is healing you, instead of it taking 16 seconds, it's going to take 24. And this increase also has implications for other healing interactions. So let's say like self-care. Self-care did receive a nerf, I believe in the 6.1 patch. And it's at 35% healing efficiency now, or healing speed rather. And so that would go from I think it's like less than like 50 seconds. So I believe it'd be like 68.5, somewhere around there, for self-care. And then for Sloppy Butcher through self-care, it's gonna take probably like around 85 seconds, I think it is. So you're essentially, if you have Sloppy Butcher applied to you and you have self-care, if you were to try to heal through that Sloppy Butcher, it would take an entire gen's worth, or almost an entire gen's worth. And so that's, I don't know, that's interesting. Second, we've rebalanced medkits across the board. All medkits will now have 24 charges by default, allowing one heal before they're depleted. Now that is crazy, because if we look at the way that medkits currently are in the game, so and I'm covering it up, of course. But currently, like the Ranger medkit has 32 charges. The green medkit has 16, so that's 1 heal. So the purple is 2 heals. This is a heal and a half, the yellow, and this is 1 heal, the brown. But now they're all gonna be 1 heal. So the purple, green, yellow, brown are all gonna be 1 heal. It's just the difference between them is that they affect like different healing speeds. Like so they go into it here. The camping medkit, which is the brown, altruistic healing speed is 25% faster now. The yellow medkit is 35% faster now. Emergency medkit, which is the green, is 50% faster now if you're healing somebody else, and then no longer increases the speed at which you heal yourself. And then the ranger medkit, which is the purple, increases altruistic healing by 50%, and then increases great skill check zones, and then increases increases skill checks. Oh, so it just increases like everything on the skill check. So they're making it to where like medkits are better for healing other people, which isn't really something that many people use medkits for. I mean, like sometimes people do, but mainly people bring in medkits for themselves, and so this makes like solo queue players a lot less effective, which is a bit concerning. I don't know. This is probably like the single biggest change in this patch, the changes to healing, because this has a lot of ramifications for the entire game, and this is just a significant nerf to Survivor. I don't know how this is going to shake out, but let's keep on going through. And they all said they did an add-on pass to medkits, which I guess we'll have to see what they do with that because they don't say. Perk updates. They updated Gearhead. Gearhead has always been kind of a bad perk. Now they're making it to where when a survivor loses a health state, Gearhead activates for 30 seconds. While active, any survivor who hits a good skill check of their aura revealed together for 8 seconds. So the problem with Gearhead is that it's dependent on good skill checks, dependent on the survivor not to hit greats. And that's what's always felt bad. But this is a little bit better now. You get more consistent information, so maybe it'll be worth running. I don't know. Overzealous is you get repair speed when you cleanse a totem. And now they're making it to where it'll also activate if you bless a totem. And they've also increased the repair speed from 8% to 10%. That's kind of crazy. Scourge Hook Pain Res. So they're making it to where this one's a little bit weird because they don't clarify enough in this. So this perk has gradually found its way back into the meta. To address this, we've given a slight rework. Perk starts with 4 tokens. The first time each survivor is hooked on a Scourge Hook, this generator with the most progress will explode and lose progress. Also reduce the difference between the different tiers of the perk now, 11, 13, 15. So the regression is the same at tier 3. But from the sounds of it, it'll only regress a generator if you hook a unique survivor. Yeah, because this is the first time each survivor is hooked. So you got to hook everybody for the first time in order to get your entire perk value. And then after you hook everybody once, you have a dead perk. So that's not even really worth using because, I mean, that's just 15 times 4. It's 60% generator progress that is gone. So you might as well not even use it, especially because it's a Scourge Hook. It's not for any hook that you put the person on. This might as well not even be a Scourge Hook now. This just gets the perk. I don't see people really using this that much because it's just not really worth it. Dead Hard, they're nerfing Dead Hard again. Dead Hard will activate after safely unhooking a survivor. So now if you want your Dead Hard, you gotta save somebody. When activated, same, you get an extra health state. This makes Dead Hard a lot less useful. And I don't think, like, while people may be rejoicing, saying, oh, this is a really good change, I hate seeing Dead Hard, I really think this is going to lead to more people using Sprint Burst, mainly, and even Lithe. I think a lot of people like don't realize how good Lithe and Sprint Burst are, and it's going to make Chase a lot more boring. The thing with Dead Hard is, yeah, somebody pressed a button and like you hit them and they get further away, but at least you're interacting close for that to happen. But with Sprint Burst and Lithe, it's just they gain distance and you have to just hold W and catch up to them. And so it's also uninteractive because you're just walking towards them. So yeah, that makes Dead Hard a lot less useful. Call of Brine, they're nerfing Call of Brine from 200% regression to 125. That's a significant nerf. So they're making it to where the Jin Kick meta is not as good. 125%. That's not great. Overcharge, they're bringing it from 200% regression max to 130. And they're increasing the starting regression to 85%. That's not good either. And they're making it to where if you miss a skill check, it takes off 5% of the gen. So it sounds like Overcharge is going to be better than Call of Brine now, because yeah, Call of Brine immediately starts with the 125, but Overcharge eventually gets to 130, and it also has the 5% skill check miss that potentially could happen. Call of Brine isn't really worth running now. It looks like Overcharge is the better perk now. Circle of Healing, this is a huge change. This is yet another nerf to Circle of Healing. Going forward, Circle of Healing will no longer allow survivors to heal without a medkit. Now, I wonder if this is just like an oversight by the devs, because I wonder if you have self-care, if you could heal, or if you need a medkit for some reason. This is like one of the like weird interactions to where I guess you need a medkit even if you have self-care. But I'm guessing you could use self-care. I think this is just weirdly worded by them. Additionally, the auras of injured survivors will be shown to the other survivors that are within the boon range. So basically, they're making to where it's just you heal other people faster and you can't heal yourself at default, which makes Circle of Healing really just not worth running, because the killer can snuff at your totem, requires people to all group up in order to get the heal value, and by the time that they like ran over to that part of the map to get the heal off, they might as well just healed wherever they initially were. How it is. It's just less time efficient to run towards the boon. Killer updates. They are changing HillBilly, which makes me very sad because, as you may be able to tell, I have put a lot of time into HillBilly. And let's just go through these changes. The amount of heat generated from both starting to rev and continuing to rev your chainsaw has been dramatically reduced, making the overheat mechanic almost a non-factor when used in loops and over short distances, which akin to how you used to play. So this is what people call curving, like using your chainsaw to try to reach the survivor at the loop. So they're making it to where the overheat isn't as impactful in those situations, to where the skillful part of playing Billy is more incentivized. But to counteract that, they're making it to where the amount of heat generated while chainsaw sprinting, so going long distances, is increased. So if you're going across the map, you get more overheat. So if you're trying to use it for traversal, but if you're trying to use it for like downing at tiles, it's less overheat. So that's okay. It's kind of weird. I don't think we really need the overheat mechanic. I feel like Billy was good even without the overheat mechanic. Let me get out of Billy because I don't like having him in the background. I'm just constantly yelling. But it's okay. But for some reason, last but not least, we've toned down the Doom Engravings and Death Engravings add-ons. These add-ons will provide less movement speed than before and increase heat generation further. So they're making like his capability to use his chainsaw at loops better because of reducing the overheat. But Doom Engravings and Death Engravings are what people use to curve at loops. And so, and I feel like those add-ons aren't OP. They're very, like, Billy is one of those killers that's, like, if you know how to play against him, you can very skillfully make him miss chainsaws and, like, counteract his plays. He has very telegraphed movements. And so nerfing his most used, most fun, and still balanced add-ons, I don't see why they're doing this. This makes it to where the few Billy players that exist, they're going to play Billy less because Billy's not going to be as fun. It's fun to go fast with Billy. And I don't know. This just doesn't make sense. I don't like if they got rid of these other changes. Okay, cool. They're making it to where curving is a little bit better. This just doesn't need to go through. This makes me kind of upset. And then they do like a little funny, haha, we decided to nerf Pig. But they're actually like buffing John's medical file to increase movement speed to 10% from 6. The Oni, they're making it to where the add-ons Blackened Toenail and Bloody Sash Increase your movement speed while absorbing to 0.4 and 0.7. Previously it was 0.3, 0.6. Doing small buffs to some add-ons. Nightmare. The add-ons Unicorn Block and Sheep Block inflict blindness on the survivors. Now they increase the duration of the blindness by 30 seconds for both. Executioner, his egg add-on. They're increasing it from 1.5 to 3 seconds for the killer instinct value. Clown, the pinky finger, they're making it to where your max bottles are 3 instead of 2. Flashlight interactions. So they talk about how it used to make sense for certain items to mess with certain killer powers when there's less killers, but now it doesn't make sense because there's more killers. And so the Wraith will no longer get burned by a flashlight. Nurse will no longer get burned by a flashlight. Artist can no longer have her crows scared away by a flashlight. Hag will no longer have her traps destroyed by flashlights. But instead, you can now like smear them away if you crouch up to them, which is cool. This is something I've been advocating for a long time because I don't think killers' powers should be interacted by items. That's pretty cool. It is kind of like sad though at the same time because like this is the type of stuff that like player knowledge can like help you out in order to like make some cool plays. But I understand why they're doing it. It ruins like the depth of DBD. I don't know. I don't completely hate this high change. And then the Deep Rift and Beyond. Late last year, a deeper level of the Rift was revealed, allowing players who had already reached Tier 70 to go above and beyond, continuing progressing to earn alternative rewards for outfits. Starting with a Tools to Torment mid-chapter update, this Deep Rift will feature unique visuals to better differentiate the bonus Deep Rift from the regular Rift. Okay. As for tomes, you may notice a trend where the most recent chapter's lore is expanded in the following tome. No coincidence. This is something we'll be doing for all new original chapters moving forward. This will allow us to expand further on the most recently introduced characters' lore in a more natural and exciting way. So this is basically like the tome after a character release is going to be about those characters. So like this one currently is about Knight and Vittorio. The next one is going to be about Skull Merchant and the 2 new survivors. And then while we'd love to expand upon these stories, as we have done with Ghostface and Bill, since franchises are kind of up in the air. And so, yeah. This is a very interesting update. Bloodweb Changes, good. Visual Terrarius, good. Map updates, potentially good. Healing changes, understandable, but it makes solo queue worse. And it makes like hit and run meta better. I don't know. This could potentially be bad. I don't know. The thing is, this makes Survivor feel worse. And in addition, the perks being updated, them nerfing Pain Res and nerfing Call of Brine and nerfing Overcharge makes it to where a lot of the killer slowdown is nerfed. And I am fearful that killers are going to see that and they're going to tunnel even more. They're going to camp even more because they don't have this significant slowdown. And tunneling and camping is already something that a lot of survivors say is the least fun part of the game because they get very few points for it. They don't get to do like the objective. They're just constantly in chase. And then for the other 3 survivors that aren't getting tunneled, they're just doing generators the entire time. It's a really big imbalance in terms of like how the game is distributed between the entire player count in the lobby. And so them changing regression perks without adding in like a safety feature, kind of like Scott Jenda's talked about before, like they could do base kit corrupt intervention where until the killer like gets a first hit or gets into the first chase, the 3 furthest gens are blocked. That would be cool. Or like gen speeds are slower until the killer gets the first chase, and then like after like 60 seconds, then gen speeds go to normal in case the killer is trying to hold people hostage. Of course, you gotta have things like that because you know people are gonna be annoying. Like because they haven't implemented anything like that, them nerfing regression perks and then also not trying to alleviate how killers camp and tunnel. I'm a bit scared to see how people react to these changes. Dead hard change, I'm a bit afraid because I'm afraid people are going to move over to sprint burst and lithe And I forget what the Jonah perk is. Let me look real quick. It's annoying. Overcome. People are gonna use overcome. Like, those perks are gonna become more prevalent, and in my opinion, those perks are even less interactive than Dead Hard, and so I don't like that. But I don't know. I would love to hear what you guys think about this this update. If you like it, if you hate it, if you like certain parts of it, what parts do you like? If you hate certain parts of it, what parts do you hate? Do you think that all of it's going to go through? None of it's going to go through? What parts do you think are going to go through? What parts are going to be held back? I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. I will be live streaming later today after this video gets posted, and I'll be talking about these changes. So if you want to have a discussion on there, twitch.tv/TricksterShadow. And I will see you guys in the next video. I'm actually going to be putting out a video this weekend where I talk about how DBD has a very big bug with the game currently that allows people to reset their MMR. So keep an eye out for that this weekend, and I will see you guys in that video. Bye-bye, everyone.